Hello, everyone. I could not find a good whiteboard video, so I decided to record one for you myself. Hey guys, you've already learned how to download and create a Zoom account, and you've learned how to share your screen. Now we're going to go over some of the features of the virtual whiteboard, which is a tool we're going to use in our live tutorials and in my office hours. When you log into Zoom on your app, you are going to click on the orange new meeting button, and it's going to bring you here. This is a place where you can practice some of those activities that you have learned in Zoom. When you click on it, it's going to look a lot like what it'll look like when you join a Zoom meeting. And what I want you to pay attention to is what is down here at the bottom. At the bottom, you'll see a button that says Share Screen. I want you to click on Share Screen. Notice the pop-up comes up and it tells you the different things that you can share. One of the things that it says that you can share is your screen itself. If sometimes you have a question about accessing something online or an assignment, you're confused about it, you can click the share screen option and I will be able to see your screen remotely. Another button that you can click is the whiteboard screen, and this is what we're going to primarily be using in class. So I'm going to click this now. And I'm going to click share. Notice my whiteboard has come up and it has some items on there. So the first thing that we are going to talk about is the select tool. Now, before we talk about the select tool, I do want you to pay attention here, and I want you to look at the toolbar, the small toolbar. Notice that this small toolbar can appear and it can disappear. Okay, so I'm going to hit the X to make this disappear. If I want to get this toolbar back, I'm going to move my cursor all the way to the top and where it says stop share, and notice another toolbar comes down. I will then click where it says whiteboard and my toolbar appears. Now in a live meeting, you will see this same pencil up on the stop share toolbar, and under it, it will say annotate. It is going to bring the exact same small toolbar onto the whiteboard. This is essential for you to actively work with the whiteboard. Now, let's start with the first feature. The first feature is the select feature. So I am going to use the select feature to select objects. If I want to select an object, I will click and drag my cursor across the object I want to select. In this case, I'm selecting this circle. Notice the object is selected, and I can then move it around where I want it to go. Sometimes you can use the select feature to delete specific items off the screen. So for example, if I want to delete these stamps over here, I'm going to hold and drag across the stamps, and I'm going to select all those stamps, and then I'm going to hit the backspace button, and the backspace button will delete all of the stamps on the whiteboard. This is a great feature when you have a lot of work on the whiteboard, but you only want to delete a portion of the work and not everything. All right, the next feature is the text feature. Some of us are not really skilled at using a touchpad. If you're not on an iPad, sometimes it's inconvenient to use the mouse. So they have the text feature if you want to interact with the whiteboard, but you can't really draw as good. So with the text feature, you'll hit that, and then you'll just click on the whiteboard where you want your text to go and just type your text. Hello, everyone. All right. So that is how you use the text feature. If you want to draw on the whiteboard, of course you will use the draw button. Click on that draw button. The sideways, that's the small one, gives you a nice small line to draw with. All right. The bigger line gives you the highlighter. All right. Over here, there are some shapes that you can draw. Now, primarily for our class, we are going to be using the line shape because sometimes you're going to be drawing coordinate planes. So you'll just you'll click and drag the direction that you want your lines to go. And then when you have it how you want it, just release it. Okay? You can move the line up, down, sideways. That just makes it easier to draw straight lines. Another symbol you may be drawing and using a lot on the whiteboard is the circle. In trig, we talk a lot about the unit circle, so we probably will be using that a lot. So again, you're just clicking, dragging, and dropping. All right. Moving along, there is the stamp feature. And the stamp feature I'm going to use to get feedback from you all. So if we're in an active live session, I may ask you if you're understanding. If it is a session where I have more than, say, 5 people, I'm going to probably have the audio off so that way it's not too many people talking at one time. So if I say, hey, do you understand the material, or are you feeling good about the material? You may want to give feedback not only in the chat, but giving feedback through a stamp. So one thing that you can add is the check mark. So this is a good thing to say, hey, yes, Miss Bennett, I know how to draw circles using the draw feature. All right. You also can go under this stamp and use the X mark. So this shows, hey, no, I'm not getting it and I need some support. All right. And we'll talk more in class about what that's going to look like. But I really want you to focus on just how to locate and to utilize that tool. All right. The next tool that you're going to be using in class is the spotlight tool, and in particular, the arrow spotlight. If we're working on different problems, I want you to be able to identify your work. Under spotlight, you can hit the arrow. And when you click by something, it will give you an arrow, and notice it gives you an arrow with your name on it. Okay, so you can always identify, hey, look over here, and I will know specifically who clicked it. Okay. The other feature is erase. This feature I use if I want to erase 1 or 2 items. I typically prefer to use the select feature to erase items because it's much faster. But if you want to erase 1 item, 2 items, you can just click on it and it will erase it. Again, I want to move over because it just fits nice with erase. If you want to undo something, if you made a mistake, you can click the undo button. Or if you want to do something over and over again, you can put the redo button. Okay. The last thing that fits with erase is if you want to clear everything on the board, you can go over to clear and you can clear all of your drawings. Now notice in a session, they're only going to give you the opportunity to clear your work. So this will not clear any work that I have put on the whiteboard or someone else has put on the whiteboard. It will only clear what you have wrote on the whiteboard. All right, let's go back to format. If you are unhappy about any colors that are on the whiteboard, you can format your colors. You can format the width of the line that you're drawing with, and you can format the font of your text that you're using. All right. At the end of all of this, if you want to save anything that's on the whiteboard, you can use your save feature. It will save the work that's on the whiteboard. All right, guys, this concludes our session on interactive learning with the whiteboard. What I want you to do next is to move on to your Zoom assignment. You're just going to practice these features and you're going to submit your assignment to Edsby. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Thank you all. Stay safe and watch